make $500,000 a month as a 23-year-old founder. So I want to share a few of my insights that I've picked up from scaling a multi-million dollar business, especially at my age. We've really been able to condense the time frame. Most people, it takes 5, 6, if not 10 years to ever hit that 7-figure mark. And we were able to hit 7 figures within the first 12 months of launching our business. And we've continued to scale into the multiple millions, headed for 8 figures this year. So I want to take you back into my story and actually how I got here, because what you'll find is that often what you are meant to do is not necessarily controlled by what you decide or the choices that you make. Oftentimes, there is something that may not feel super obvious to you right now, but that you're really pre-set up to do based off of your life experience, the things that you've gone through, and you can have such an incredible impact once you learn how to tap into those things. So I want to give you some insight into my journey and how you could potentially pull some of those unexpected things that could really be a unique advantage for you from your own personal journey. So currently, I run a multi-million dollar social media marketing advisory firm. We've got a international team. We work with clients all over the world. What really brought me here, it all starts back with a simple diagnosis. So I was born with a rare form of eye cancer called bilateral retinal blastoma. And when I was 6 weeks old, I had my right eye removed. And at the time of my diagnosis, there was only a 2% survival rate. Of course, growing up with cancer, it really changes your perspective on things and causes you to understand how to take action a lot quicker and how to assess different risks and really understand what goes into making a decision and making decisions quickly. Now, because of my cancer, my parents enrolled me in equine therapy or therapeutic horseback riding when I was 8 years old. And it ended up being something that I was just absolutely obsessed with. And we ended up moving across the state of Colorado so that I could have horses of my own. And I started barrel racing and competing in rodeo, and I ended up being a rodeo queen. And because of that, I ended up being able to share my story on multiple stages for different fundraisers and events. And so I really got good at public speaking and understanding how to connect with people and how to pull elements of my personal story in a meaningful way that could impact other people. And it really prepared me and set me up for being able to be successful on social media, because I knew how to take the important elements of a story and really cater them to be impactful for the masses. Then through my barrel racing and rodeo journey, I ended up being taken under the wing by a wonderful mentor of mine who was in the same space. And as a favor to her, just as somebody who was a teenager that understood social media, I ended up doing social media management for her and her companies. She now has multiple 8-figure businesses, and all of her marketing efforts are centered around organic social media marketing from a personal brand. So that was way back in high school when I started doing this, and I learned all about organic marketing, learning how to generate millions of dollars in sales from Instagram and Pinterest, which is now a core pillar of what we teach in our own programs today. And this all really started to come full circle after I went to college, met my husband. I was going to school for software engineering, and I started building websites for people and taking on website clients. And what I found was that these clients, once they had an optimized website, they needed help to drive traffic to that website, and often they didn't have a ton of money to dump into ads. So what I was able to do was take that experience that I already had and start doing social media management and creating visibility for these website clients that I had to drive traffic to their businesses, which then once my personal brand really blew up on TikTok, I went from 0 to 100,000 within a month. And I was able to then bring those management services more full scale through consulting and advisory. So that brings us to where we are now. So you can see how very unlikely turn of events really ended up being such a blessing and really led me down this path that gave me so much valuable insight that I can now share with clients and really leverage to make an impact through my personal brand. And just about every person has something challenging that they went through, whether it was a diagnosis or challenging relationships or financial troubles. And so every single person has some sort of value that they can provide to the masses. And so there's always a business opportunity if you look within yourself and your personal journey and really unpack what you've learned through that journey and how you can leverage it to potentially be a very successful business. So I want to start with some of the most essential things that I learned and or implemented to take this idea and this kind of full circle moment of figuring out that this was something that people needed. They needed help driving traffic, and how I was able to actually harness that and turn it into a very successful business. First and foremost, sales is the number one most essential skill for success. If you can't sell what it is that you do or what you're creating, you don't have a business. All you have is a hobby. So being able to sell that idea to other people, understand how your product or service fits into the needs and is able to fill a gap for your ideal clients is what is really going to set you apart from everyone else. And if you can articulate that in a way that helps your ideal client to understand that this is something that they absolutely can't live without, then you're going to be successful in business. Of course, mastering sales is something that heavily contributed to my current monthly revenue because I understand how to speak to people's current realities, how to connect that to what their desires are, and how we uniquely fill that gap. Number two, continuous learning is so vital to being successful. So I would say that the best place to go for knowledge and information is books. There's so much valuable information that's really locked up in books because not all of that is available to you on the internet. And so, although there are so many different resources from YouTube to podcasts to online courses and trainings, you can gather so much information and really condense the amount of time that it's going to take you to be successful by picking up a book. So I have a whole other video about the top business and psychology books that really shaped the way I run my business. And I also break down how we actually leverage those different insights from those books in our business. So we'll have that linked if you want to go check that out. Number three, of course, is your mindset. I know that this is such a buzzword, so stay with me here, but the mentality that I really needed when starting a business was kind of a so what mentality. So if something didn't work, so what? Now we know that doesn't work. We can try something else. If I got a negative comment on social media, so what? It doesn't do anything for me. If anything, it's market research. That's really the key mindset shift I had to make early on, is to understand that the negative comments or the lack of support from people that you know, your friends, your family, that is not going to have any bearing on your success unless you allow it to. Because there are hundreds of thousands of people out there on the internet, especially if you're starting an online business, that will align with your values, ideals, and really see value in what it is that you're offering. So just because you have a small-minded family or circle of friends does not have any bearing on your ability to create impact and be successful in your business. So that would be my number one piece of advice. And I know a lot of people hesitate to get started simply because they're embarrassed or they don't know what their people that they know are going to think about them when they start showing up on social media. So create a new account, block them, right? Those those features exist for a reason. And if you can remove the people that you are concerned about seeing your stuff from that reality, then you are free to show up and really share your value and do whatever you want on social media. The next insight I want to share is around specifically starting a business on social media. And so, number one, understanding sales psychology and how to infuse that into my marketing and content in the digital space was something that was so valuable to me to be able to grab attention, be able to do attraction marketing, not have to waste money on ads, and be able to actually convert the traffic that I was getting into sales. And then learning how to leverage content creation to attract and retain customers is so important, because if you don't know, again, marketing and sales are the lifeblood of your business. If you don't know how to drive sales and you don't know how to attract customers to you, you don't have a business. And so regardless of what the skill is that you're selling, regardless of your offer, product, what it is, what industry it's in, you need to have an understanding of marketing and sales if you are going to be successful and ever make a single dollar with your business. The next insight that I want to share with you is around finding and hiring mentors. So I have spent over $100,000 on different mentors in the business space, marketing space, sales specifically. And so what I found is that there are some very key things that you should be looking for when you go to hire a mentor. I have a whole video about red flags, green flags, the things that you should be looking for and the things that you should avoid when it comes to hiring a mentor. But I would say it's time to invest into a mentor once you have an idea and you have some momentum and you have some systems in place to actually bring it to fruition. So if you know exactly what you want your business to look like, you know roughly what you want to offer, maybe you don't know exactly what software to use or how to go about marketing, that's when it's time to bring on a mentor. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until you have a ton of income coming in. Don't wait. Allow other people who have been there before you, who have done what you want to do, to shortcut that time that it's going to take you to be successful and find the right mentors for the needs that you have. Do not wait to invest in somebody that can really take you down the easier path when it comes to running a business. I'm sure you've heard the saying, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, and that's so true. It doesn't matter who did it first, it matters who does it the best. So learning from somebody else, and this is key, learning from somebody else who has already done what you want to do is the fastest and most surefire way to ensure that you are successful. But it's super important that you know how to weed out the people who aren't legit and really just cut through all of the noise to get to the people who have truly done what you want to do, because those are the only people that you should be learning from. So hopefully this video provided you with a little bit of insight on the next steps to take, kind of where to focus. And of course, if you have any questions, never hesitate to DM me on Instagram or leave a comment down below.